Hi everybody, welcome back to Fairview and update number 11. So we're just enjoying a bit of rail fanning here to start things off today. The Union Pacific coal train has been called into the siding at Fairview. And now we can see a fast BNSF manifest freight coming through on the main line, taking priority over the coal train. It's a busy day at Fairview. In contrast to my last update, there's a lot of content to show you this month, so let's get straight on and have a look at some of the things that have been happening around the layout. And just before I show you the progress here in the northern end of the layout in Fairview Heights, for the first time really, I've got some comments and some questions from one or two of you subscribers that I'd like to respond to. So we'll cover those first and then get on with the modelling update after that. First off, a few people had commented on a suitable material for my stock drawers here. So a big thank you to Chris Plale, who recommended that I take a look at toolbox liner. I picked up this roll of liner in my local hardware store, and as you can see, or hopefully you can make out there in the drawers, let me just get in a bit closer perhaps, it's done a really good job of cushioning the effect of moving the cars in and out of the drawers as I set up trains to keep up with my kind of sequential operations plans. A big thank you as well to those of you who posted suggestions about how I might want to go about developing this area. Donovan Robbins said that I might like to consider doing a loco servicing yard, which really I'm quite keen on that idea. That sounds like it might be something worth exploring. I'd also thought that I might just make it a slightly simpler industrial spur. But I'm not really in a big rush to develop this area just yet. But I guess I'll come back to this subject fairly soon, because this is the only part of the layout that hasn't really been developed yet. And finally, in this section, a subscriber, I don't know his actual name, he goes by Kropotken, I hope you know who you are, asked if I could show you a closer look at my main street, in particular wanting to get a better idea of the depth of this particular part of the scene. So here we go, here's a view of the main road of the shopping area, and you can see I've laid a ruler down there. Hopefully you can see that the buildings are all about 3 inches or 7-8 centimeters deep. They're all modelled in half relief, and then the sidewalk comes out about another 2 inches maybe before we get to the main road itself, which I would say is another 4.5 inches wide. So that would be about 12 centimeters, say. Difficult to move between the two measurements, of course. And then there's just a short dirt area which needs to be landscaped some more yet, which is probably no more than 1.5 inches, 4 or 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters. And so the depth of the scene, if I just pull back slightly from the backdrop, which actually isn't in place yet, through to the first tracks, which is the main track running through town, that's a depth of 11 inches or so, about 28, 29 centimeters. And I try to pack in quite a lot. The idea is it's a one-way street. Traffic's going to come there from another part of town, turn this corner, some parking here for when people are doing their shopping, and then it'll narrow right at the end to a single lane before the junction there, with options to take you across the tracks, up through Fairview Heights and so on and so forth. All this area, in fact, something that I'm going to be working on when I've finished the heights themselves. A subscriber, Brad Hinton, asked if I could say a bit more about how I make my roads and my sidewalks. So I think what I'll do is I'll show that process when I'm doing the road scene up in the far corner there. All right then, talking about Fairview Heights, let's focus now on the progress I've made this last month. And here we go, here's my highway overpass. Having not made very much progress anywhere on the layout in late June and into July, when we got to the end of July and now into August, I wanted to really get going and get something finished. So I was determined to really push on. And go, this is the end result. I hope you'll agree it's finished nicely. It's looking pretty good now. I'm pleased with it anyway. I'll blend.
Because the easiest way to clean your pond is.
And what I'm going to do now is just show you some images that I shot while I was actually constructing and finishing off the highway overpass, just to give you an idea of the steps that I took. You can see here that the base was built from a sheet of MDF, 6mm MDF, and I laminated onto the bottom of it basswood strips to form the concrete reinforcing pieces. I think I said in a previous video that I'd used my son's 3D printer to make the pylons, and with hindsight I think probably I should have drawn up some kind of pattern to do the whole of the under frame. But there you go, I used the basswood strips and they came out okay. Weighted them down with some books while they were drying.
Not to damage the roots where they join the bulb.
36.7 million people are now fully vaccinated, almost 70% of all.
Then I went on to make the side barriers out of 2 strips of plastic card laminated together, just to give a slight lip and allow those side barriers to sit on the edge of the deck there. And when that was ready and glued on and all squared up nicely, I went ahead and put the road markings down using graphic tape and started the process of painting and weathering, some powders for the stains on the deck from traffic passing over, and some light washes and so on and so forth. I also decided to decorate the side of the bridge with a kind of a graphic representing the Rocky Mountains, and then turn to some details. I used the 3D printer again to make some traffic barrels. You can see the raw version in the background of the shot there, painted them up and stuck some real reflective tape on them to give them those stripes that you see on pictures of these barrels. And when everything was ready, I didn't take video footage of this unfortunately, but I had to just carve into the landscape a little bit to sit the whole model down. There's still a fair few details that need finishing off. I want to perhaps add some more graffiti. I need to scenic the area still properly and bed the columns into the ground, and the lighting still isn't wired up yet, but I decided to use the American phrase, I'm calling it done. I quite like that phrase, this idea that you could keep going, there's other things that you could do, but there we go. I'm happy with the state of play as things stand at the moment, ready now to push on and get the rest of this area scenicked, and then I've got to start really doing some work on the buildings and things over here. But good progress this month. It was a nice project just to get finished, so I'm happy that the overpass is now complete. So there you go, the BNSF Fast Manifest Freight has passed through town. Next month I hope to have some news about this Union Pacific coal train here. But for now I'll leave you with some shots of this train rolling out of Fairview. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoy your modelling. Take care and see you next month.